in Arabic. But it isn't usually until a grenade is thrown that the patrols have the slightest clue as to the enemy's whereabouts. Their favorite vantage points for lobbing missiles at the troops are the rooftops, and in this shantytown territory they've got plenty of choice. By now the soldiers know that as soon as they see a grenade is being hurled in their direction, they have no more than a couple of seconds to lie flat on their faces. If they do this, then more often than not they're safe, because the blast from these grenades invariably goes upwards, roughly in the shape of a cone. With the latest terrorist attacks in this teeming Arab area, the army now makes their patrols 2 platoons strong, about 50 men in all. It takes the patrol just over an hour to cover the district quickly, and during that time there's rarely need for a single word of command. Each man knows what he must do and the possible consequences should he forget.
The Armenian manuscripts, which were to be auctioned in London, are on their way back to Jerusalem. Wrapped in brown paper, the 23 volumes were handed over at Sotheby's this morning. Lord John Carr, a director of Sotheby's, returned the manuscripts after a personal appeal from the Patriarch of Jerusalem. The books, worth as much as £500,000, left London Airport with Bishop Ajemian. Jim Biddulph asked the bishop if he knew their seller's identity.
Well, I think so.
Are you prepared to disclose who it is?
The Armenian Patriarchate will issue an official statement of all the matter during the next week, and it will be sent to all the newspapers, officially signed by the Patriarch. Well, Your Lordship, yes. I thank you again.
The executive of West Germany's extreme right-wing party, the NPD, confirmed tonight that they've decided to unseat their chairman, Fritz Thielen. He's been regarded as a moderate in NPD terms. Orders Herr Thielen made, expelling 8 far-right party members, including Adolf von Tudden, the deputy chairman, were revoked by tonight's executive meeting. Princess Margaret and Lord Snowdon are now in Nassau for their holiday in the Bahamas. They'll be staying there for 9 days. The princess was reunited with her husband at New York's Kennedy Airport after being parted for 6 weeks while Lord Snowdon was working in Japan and America. It was during Lord Snowdon's absence that rumours began of a rift in their 7-year-old marriage. They were strongly denied by Lord Snowdon. The couple posed for photographs, but reporters, hoping for an informal news conference, were disappointed. China. The Peking government has expelled 2 Russian diplomats, accusing them of political persecution of Chinese employees at the Soviet embassy. And in another incident, China claims that when the Peking-Moscow train arrived in the Soviet Union last month, the Russians confiscated over 200 volumes of Chairman Mao's writings. A strong Chinese protest note claimed the books were removed on the orders of the Russian government and hadn't been returned. Vietnam. American bombers from Thailand have again raided the North's biggest steel works. All the planes are reported to have returned. But today the Americans released film of how many pilots are saved after being shot down. A Sky Raider fighter goes in first to give covering fire. A helicopter is guided to the clearing where the pilot's waiting, and a member of the crew is winched down on a lifeline to bring him up. The whole rescue is controlled from a recovery center miles away in Saigon. Helicopters often spend hours flying high above the jungle, waiting for the coded signal that tells them they're needed. And the Defense Department says that many pilots have been saved from right under the rifles of the enemy. India's Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, has announced that former Finance Minister Morarji Desai has agreed to call off his bid for the Indian Premiership. He'll be given a senior cabinet portfolio, and Mrs. Gandhi said he had pledged her his unqualified support. Mrs. Gandhi was first challenged by Mr. Desai in the Indian leadership crisis last year. She'll be formally re-elected tomorrow. A big police hunt is still going on in East Anglia after the murder early today of a farmer at Outwell near Wisbech. A gang wearing stocking masks and armed with a shotgun broke into the house belonging to the farmer, 60-year-old Mr. John Orger, and they stole a safe. They tied him up, and he was later found dead in his garden. Police said there had been considerable violence. The farmer's wife, who's 59, was also bound and gagged, but not injured. Police say they want to interview 3 men, all in their 20s and slimly built. They have a strong local accent. Rescue teams are working tonight to reach a potholer who fell over 200 feet down a mine shaft near Colford in Gloucestershire. His companion got back to the surface and alerted the police. It's expected the rescue attempt will last several hours. Cricket. And at Bridgetown, the rest of the world team beat Barbados by 262 runs on the fourth day of their 5-day match. The scores, rest of the world 308 and 276, Barbados 84 and 238. Rugby, in today's international at Cardiff Arms Park, Ireland beat Wales by 3 points to 0. The Irish try by wing three-quarter Duggan came in the first 3 minutes. Peter West, the commentator.
So it's Ireland's ball, and Roger Young, dental student from the north, with his old sparring partner today, his Lions sparring partner as well, the great Mike Gibson. That's a nice heel. Good strike by Ken Kennedy. Here goes Gibson coming in. Oh, I say, look at Gibson! My word, and he bounces into Brown Price, and it's another good possession. Good ball here. Jerry Walsh to kick for his win. Is it a try for Ireland, is it? Yes, it's a try!
And that was the final score, 3-0. And that's all from us tonight. Now here's the weather, and good night.